welcome to Cuepoints, the mobile DJ podcast. Well, first off, I'm not Will, and that's not Anthony.
I'm not Anthony.
So what's going on?
And
here?
I'm not Will either. Where's Will? I was here last week, and there was Will and no Anthony, and this week there's Anthony and no Will. What's going on?
Very weird. So as you guys know, last week I was in Florida. It was very nice. Thanks for asking. On a little trip with my girlfriend and her family. Went very, very well. Got a lot of relaxing time at the beach.
You look tan.
In the pool. Yeah.
And you look relaxed.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It was nice.
And where's Will now?
Will is in Virginia.
Okay.
I'm presuming on vacation. He did not tell me.
They didn't tell me either. I just got a call saying, hey, be on Cuepoints at this time. And I said, no problem. I'm the designated co-host now, I guess.
We're very lucky to have Brett here.
Oh, thank you.
So.
We're going to have some fun today. We got a good show, a lot of fun things lined up, and a lot of good things to discuss. So I hope everyone's ready. We
Absolutely.
got the white EV Evolve 50 speaker review coming up, so I look forward to that.
We will definitely be talking about the Evolve 50. The main topic about this show is going to be dealing with intoxicated partygoers.
Ooh.
I'm sure we both have a decent
It's a
amount
sore point for a lot of
stories
DJs
for that.
when you're
It's just
attacked on the job. And
it's something that needs to be talked about.
Yes,
Because it's something every DJ has to deal with, every MC has to deal with. So
yeah, you got to watch out for those unruly party guests. And today we're also going to try something a little different, a little live Q&A on the Long Island DJs group, questions and answers. We're going to see if we can get some questions and answer them.
Exactly.
Hopefully we get some good questions.
So how was your weekend?
I would say eventful, which is every weekend. Hopefully it's full of events because that's what pays the bills. We had, a few weddings, graduation parties are starting to kick into full effect because everyone graduated last week from high school and college a few weeks ago, and all the grad parties are starting to kick in. I don't know if you were outside at all this weekend, but the weather yesterday, we had some DJs working outside and trees came down. There was micro bursts of wind.
Sunday afternoon, that was nuts.
It was nuts.
If you're watching from Florida, or if you've ever been to Florida, you could be familiar with this.
Oh, yeah.
Literally out of nowhere, outside just went black, and rain, hail. I'd have to say 60 to 70 mile an hour winds.
Yeah, there were like little tornadoes popping up, and these poor DJs are posting all over Facebook, my laptop's trash, my speakers are ruined.
Even if you had a tent, whatever was outside was destroyed. Because it was coming from all directions.
All directions, and it came out of nowhere, and it came on quick. No one had time to pack up the gear and get it into hiding. It just came.
Luckily, I was inside, but I was right in front of these windows and the glass doors, and the water was coming in from under the doors.
Oh no.
So luckily the party was over. I was packing up, everything was unplugged already, so I just had to shift everything away from the windows.
That's why insurance is important, because you never know when you're going to have damage due to storms or fire with the equipment.
Even inside, a power line went down and the power was out in the whole building. They had to cancel the event that they had that night.
Yeah, I heard a lot of power outages yesterday.
Yeah. So,
and that's why contracts are important too, because if you don't have this discussed with the client ahead of time, you get put in an awkward situation. What do we do? Do we refund them? Do we reschedule? Is there a rain date? No power date?
Yeah, I mean, those are also things you have to outline in your contract.
Yeah. I mean, last week on Cuepoints, we did what if disaster strikes, and we kind of alluded that it's an ongoing theme, and here we go again. Disaster struck once again.
Dealing with disasters is just a normal thing.
It's just a normal thing, and that's what makes you a good DJ and a good MC, when you're prepared and ready to deal with the disaster.
Exactly.
Saw it all weekend. Proud of a lot of people.
Yeah. This weekend I did a wedding on Saturday. It was an outdoor wedding underneath a tent. They had the string lights and everything. It was really beautiful.
The weather was incredible Saturday.
They had an awesome time. We were supposed to have a storm that night as well, but as you could see in the clip there, I mean, it was just a beautiful night. It wasn't too hot. In the afternoon, it was very hot. I was sweating to death, but while the party was going, it was awesome. Everybody was keeping cool. So.
Yeah, the video footage looks like a great time.
Yeah,
I wish I was a guest at that wedding.
It was awesome. We all had a really nice time. And then Sunday, I'm sure you guys are going to be excited to see this. I had to dress up as Prince Charming.
The footage is incredible. And, there he is.
There it is. We had the Walk 97.5, which is a radio station here in Long Island, the Princess Brunch, where they had a bunch of the Disney princesses were there. There was a bunch of superheroes. We had Spider-Man, Batman was there.
Was this a charity event?
On an Elsa. I don't think it was for charity. I think you had to pay to get in. But it was cool. The kids were able to meet their superhero people and the princesses. They got to dance with them a little bit. And
Oh, look, there's Spider-Man.
yeah, as you can see there, Spider-Man was doing some acrobatics.
Yeah, after doing weddings and weddings and weddings, doing a kids event every now and then is nice, and seeing the look on their faces is almost more worth the pay that you're getting.
It keeps you on your toes for sure, because, man, events with kids are just
Handful.
berserk.
Coming behind the booth, trying to scratching your decks.
Whether it's an event like that where it's sort of more organized, or if it's a communion or something like that where kids are running around, it definitely keeps you on your toes.
Do you ever have children come and touch your equipment?
Yes.
And what do you do in that situation?
Usually I say, no, don't do that. And then I look up for the parents. I'm just looking around the room like, help me out here.
Yeah. I go,
because I don't want to like hit their kid's hand or like, like pull their hand away.
You don't want to get,
you can't do that.
Taken wrong. Like, you don't want to say, get away, you might get hurt, because the parent might take that as, I'm going to hurt your kid. So it's very
you have to be careful what you say and what you do with that.
I just tell kids that they're not allowed behind the DJ booth without a parent. You got to be here with a parent, or you got to be in your seat.
That's good. I mean,
it works like half the time.
The next thing you have to worry about is, are they going to listen to you?
Oh, yeah. Well, when you put the MC voice on and you get the microphone in your hand, you command a lot of respect, I find, especially with the little kids.
For the most part. Well, yeah,
they want to be.
If you have the kid behind your booth, and then you say something on the mic like, no kids allowed behind the DJ booth, then maybe they'll hear you and be like, oh snap.
Yeah, you get the voice of God on the microphone, those kids snap to attention. A lot of fun, the kids' parties.
Yeah.
We had some great weddings this weekend where we did the spark machines, and we take them outside and we do sparks outside for night shots, and we create this really awesome effect. And the brides and grooms, they love it. They just die over the pictures because they go right to Facebook.
I do think I saw the pictures on the
all
Instagram,
around them. Really cool. So we'll be looking forward to that footage after the weekend. We can't wait to see the result of what we worked hard to make happen.
Yeah, for
That's
sure.
exciting.
I think the sparklers are just phenomenal. They're getting more and more popular.
Yeah, hopefully we'll be allowed to do a review on them. With all the
we'll see what the fire code is in here. Even though
all fireworks inside,
they're not flammable, but you do need the permission before you could use them. So. If that's a possibility, maybe we'll review them here. And
yeah, they're a lot of fun. But before you bring them to any venue, you want to make sure you have permission, including the TV studio.
Yeah.
You don't want to break the rules or make anyone unhappy with you. So always ask permission first.
Exactly.
The spark machine.
While we're on the topic, what's your favorite atmospheric effect?
I like, honestly, it's a combination of the spark machines, the simulated sparks, and the Dancing on a Cloud, the dry ice show.
Yes.
The two of them together, like the sparks glow off the dry ice cloud, and it just creates this magical effect for a first dance or an engagement photo shoot. It just creates this really magical atmosphere.
I actually haven't had the pleasure to use both of those at the same time.
It's rare. I call it the special effects package.
That is nice, yeah.
And if you take it one step further, you shoot the laser beams over the crowd and create that false ceiling, and then you have the full special effects package. Right. I know it's hot coming up in 2020. Everybody is asking me about this right now. It's the snow machine.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they want the simulated snow while they're having the first dance. The snowflakes are falling, and then
now let
they
me
just
ask
disappear.
You, what are the snowflakes?
It's like a water foam based, I think it's an oil based foam material.
Do you think that would make the dance floor slippery?
Some of them do, and some don't. So you want to make sure you buy the right machine. I'm still in the research process of seeing if it's worth it.
When I got to use the dry ice machine, there was a little bit of condensation right in front of the end of the hose.
Yeah, the floor gets wet.
So you definitely have to make sure to bring some rags with you.
We bring sponges. Believe it or not.
Sponges work too.
Soak up the other thing is we just did a dry ice show at a venue that turned the ventilation off and had no ventilation, no AC for about 2 hours before we did the dry ice effect. And since the humidity, I guess, was the wrong humidity in the room and the temperature was wrong, the dry ice just made the entire floor soaking wet. So you got to make sure the ventilation stays on. It's not like your traditional, fog machine where you want the ventilation off to complete the effect.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that.
And we were prepared with towels and sponges. We also built a custom downpipe on our dry ice machine that directs the flow of the effect, and we put a sponge in the downpipe. so it captures some of the water. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. Safety first, very important.
That's very smart. Yeah. The one
Tricks of the trade.
that I used with Will, it's just like an AC hose.
Yeah, he's got the big
and
one.
on the end it diffuses. It's the ADJ Ontour Ice, I believe we've had.
And that uses like a haze or something, or is it strictly CO2?
It's all dry ice.
Oh, okay, perfect. Yeah, because you don't want the one that mixes them. That sets off the fire alarms.
And since you mentioned the CO2, that's probably my favorite effect. It's the only one that I personally own with Leading Arts Entertainment. The CO2 blaster gun.
The guns, yeah.
I love that.
Everyone loves those. It's like the new hot thing for 2020, especially the brides. They just want to stand on some dance stages and blast the crowd.
Yeah, exactly. I love that thing, man.
But you have to bring out giant like metal container full of CO2.
Yeah, so I usually rent the tank from the local welding place.
Oh, okay.
Usually I get a 20-pound tank. You do a couple blasts.
Yeah. And then they're happy. They get their photo and move on with the party.
Exactly.
Fun stuff.
So we do have a lot of awesome topics coming up. Have you had a lot of experiences with the intoxicated guests?
Just far too many. I could tell stories for about 30 more Cuepoints episodes, but we'll try to touch only on the best ones and the ones fresh in the memory.
The reason why I wanted to talk about that this week was because this past weekend, at the wedding that you guys saw in the clips there,
it happened.
Definitely some intoxicated people. I kind of wanted to share, how you deal with that, how I deal with that, how you deal with that.
Everybody does it differently.
Yeah, I mean, you have to. Not every party's the same. Not every person's the same.
Not every drunk person's on the same, level of drunkenness.
The same wavelength of drunkenness. Yeah. So and then we're gonna do some Q&As from Facebook. We tried that before, went pretty well, so we're gonna do that again. We're also gonna look at the EV Evolve 50.
It's here. It's white. It's
the
fresh.
white one. That
sounds great. So. Used on a bunch of events. So looking forward to telling everyone about that because I get a lot of messages and calls about it. So
it's a popular speaker. It's nice and lightweight, easy for us DJs.
Yep.
So looking forward to
stay
taking
tuned.
a peek.
Good things happening.
Stay tuned right here on Cuepoints, the mobile DJ podcast. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Cuepoints, the mobile DJ podcast.
We're here.
We are here.
Yeah, we're getting ready for our live Q&A coming up on Facebook, so that should be a lot of fun. And right now, it's time to start the talk of dealing with intoxicated guests at parties. Like, what happens? What do we do when it happens?
Yeah, so I guess I'll start off.
Yeah, you told me something recently happened this past weekend
at the wedding. One of the uncles, it was after the party was over. Luckily, nobody bothered me during the party, but yeah, so he came up as I was packing up and he's like, "Oh, what's going on? Not one more song?" And I was like, "Oh no, I'm sorry, we have to pack up." I was working for Will's company, Enjoyable, and he's like, "Oh, so you probably work for a company, right? So you can't just do what you want." And I was like, "Well, yeah."
That's usually how it works.
I mean, you have to be nice to them because you're still the professional there.
Yeah.
But,
and you're working.
Yeah. But you want to get the message across, So I'm like, I can't do the one last song. I'm very sorry about that. And so he went away. He didn't bother me for another maybe 30 seconds. And then he came back over. He had his arm around me.
Oh, he's touching
almost pulled me down.
Yeah.
So that definitely bothered me. And he started to sing at the top of his lungs because he's like, if you won't put the music back on, then I'll be the DJ. And he...
After the last song, it's silent.
Yeah, everyone's
probably staring at you at this point.
Everybody exited the dance floor already.
Oh, it was empty.
It was a known thing that the party was over at this point.
Thank you, good night.
I said, thank you very much for coming. Have a great night. Get home safe, blah, 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 whatever. Everyone left. And he wasn't done partying. So...
What'd you do?
What I did was I just sort of went along with it. I let him sing a couple of words, and then I was like, all right, you're an awesome singer, but I got to pack up now. And I guess that was the best way to deal with it at the time.
So you played the nice guy, like the friend card, and to not rile him up more. And
I usually try to do that, yeah, because they're very easy to get riled up at that wavelength.
Yeah, when they're drunk.
Yeah.
Alcohol lowers inhibition.
Well, there's levels of drunk, as you know. And he was up there.
Well, this is the after the wedding drunk, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, yeah, and then there was another time a couple months ago, I was doing a wedding in the Hamptons. And in the middle of the party, this guy walked up to me. He looked very intimidating. He looked like a biker dude. And, so that was a little scary in itself.
Yeah, you don't know who these people are when they come up to you. It could be anyone in the world.
Exactly. And he walks up to me, and he's like, you have to play some Spanish music. And I was like, yeah, no problem. You got it.
Did he say please?
No.
No one ever says please or thank you. They just say, you have to play this song now.
Yeah, that's how he said it.
With like an implied or else.
He's like, you have to play Spanish music. And I was like, all right, well, I'm in the middle of like a 70s disco set right now, so I'm going to work out of that, and then I'll throw some Spanish on. And he didn't say, okay, thanks. He didn't just, looked at me with, a dead, it's like this.
I hate that face. When they make that face at you. To play my song or you're going to get hurt.
It was scary, dude.
Yeah.
I was actually terrified. Yeah. But I was like, okay, I'll do, another song or two of 70s because I just started, and then I'll work into some Spanish. And, one more song, he came over, and he's like, I thought I told you to play Spanish.
Wasn't quick enough.
I was like, no, don't worry, I will definitely play it. And I don't know if he was drunk or if he was on some sort of drug, I guess, but...
A party, favor.
Yeah, nuts. So he comes back over, he's like, I told you to play some Spanish. And I was like, I will definitely work into it, I promise. And he gives me that same look and walks away. So I do one more 70s song because that's what I told him I would do.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I told him I was going to do. I didn't beat around the bush. I was like, okay, I'm going to do a couple more 70s songs and then we'll work into the Spanish stuff, I promise. And he came back up once more and almost took the facade down with him. And I'm not going to use the words that he used because I try to keep it clean here. I try to use the clean words here on Cuepoints, but yeah, he basically just said, I'm going to harm you.
Oh, boy.
If you don't put these Spanish songs on. So I went into the Spanish music, and he didn't say anything again after that.
He went away.
Yeah. But, I was actually pretty scared.
Yeah.
After the party,
and you're at work when this happens. Yeah. It's not like you're a guest at a party and another party guest was assaulting you or harassing you. It was you're at work and a guest came up, a client at work was attacking you, made you feel uncomfortable.
Exactly. I had Will there as the MC. We had a photographer there, and I just
so you at least say you had support. Yeah. You weren't alone.
Well, Will wasn't there when
he didn't see it.
This altercation happened. He was in the other room. But as we were leaving, I asked him if he could just walk to my car with me because the place that was there was across the street. So it was a dark parking lot away from the venue. So, I think I could take care of myself for the most part, but
you don't want to have to.
I didn't want to risk it.
You don't want to be in that situation.
I had my mixer with me, my backpack. If this guy takes me out,
maybe some cash from the pay that night.
Yeah, exactly. So if this guy takes me out, I don't want to be left in that situation.
No, you always want to walk to your vehicle, never alone, especially if it's a far walk.
Right.
We have a clause in our contracts that states that you cannot harass the entertainment staff, DJ, MC, dancer. You have to, speak to them courteously. And
that's nice to have.
And that I wouldn't say it's an escape clause, but it gives you
that extra
ability
added
to go to the
protection.
client and say, I feel uncomfortable right now. We have this contract where if I feel uncomfortable, I can leave. And I don't want to leave your event, but I really don't feel okay being here right now. Can you please remove this person or speak to them? And usually that solves the problem.
So what were some things that have happened to you in the past?
Well, there's
Like
things that have happened.
The ones
and,
that really stick out.
And there's things that have like really stuck out. One of my first events was a block party when I was about 15, 16. And block parties were the cornerstone of Long Island, New York. Back in the early 2000s, every block had a block party, and it was like keeping up with the Joneses. Like every block had to have a better, bigger block party than the next one. Yeah. And every year the block parties got crazier. People were getting drunker, and there would be more alcohol and kegs and ice luges, things that you wouldn't normally see at a block party. And people were just getting out of control crazy. So this one block party, older gentleman, long gray hair and a ponytail, headband.
Of course.
Grateful Dead shirt. Comes over and goes, you got to play Knocking on Heaven's Door. My son passed away however many years ago. It's my favorite song for him. You have to play it. So I played the song. It's a long song, too. I let the whole song play out. He's singing every word. The rest of the block's kind of just going about their business. We just had finished playing a game, so everyone was kind of disbanded at the moment.
Yeah, but
and he had his moment.
That's a special moment.
Yeah, for him. So
that's nice that
we made it happen.
Yeah.
About 5 songs go by. We play another game finally. Then he comes up and goes, you have to play Knocking on Heaven's Door again. I go, I played the whole 8-9 minute version for you. And he's at this point just completely intoxicated. And he's like, you need to play it right now. And I go, listen, I look at my clock and there's 4 minutes left on the job. Like I could finally, pack up and go home. And he wanted me to play the 9-minute song. And I was about to play like the last song, which I think was like Black Eyed Peas, Dirty Bit or something like that. And I said, listen, I really can't. They asked for this to be the last song. I have to play it now. And he just became irate and started like flipping up my CDs. And then he lifts up his shirt and flashes a gun. And I'm like on my first week or two of block parties, working for a company finally. I had the company banner. I was all like just proud to be out there and had a great party. And this is how it was ending. So
holy smoke.
It's like, what do you do in that situation? You're young, you don't know. So I just kept it cool. I said, all right, I'll be right back. And I walked away from the DJ booth. And I went and found the client who, hired me. And they were all firemen, thank God. And they took this guy away. I never saw him again.
Good.
But I went and got the client because this was a situation that was out of my hands that, I didn't want to deal with. I didn't know if the gun was real or fake.
That's also a situation that is taken to a level where you can't just deal with it yourself.
Over a song.
If there's a firearm involved,
Yeah, so thank God we had firemen and police on the block. Usually at block parties, they're there. And, I just calmly walked away and went and got them. I didn't, provoke the guy. I did put his song on, though, when I walked away. Yeah, I was terrified like you are.
Yeah, no, I mean...
that would be the number one, most serious situation I think
hurts your pride a little bit because...
I didn't want to do another block party after that.
You'd like to think you could take care of yourself, but like a situation like that happens, it's scary.
Especially when you're 15.
When you're by yourself and 15.
I was by myself. I had like my learner's permit, my junior's license, just drove to the gig for the first time. Scary. And, I called my boss after that. He goes, oh, that doesn't usually happen. Yeah. And I kept at it and it was fun.
Thanks for the tips, boss.
Yeah. A few years ago, we were doing a wedding in this venue that had really terrible acoustics, and you had to keep the music very low, otherwise the echo was just beyond you heard everything 4 times. It was that bad. So you had to keep the music at this very low volume, which we did. But the father of the bride was hard of hearing and had hearing aids that were turned up way too high, and you could tell because you heard the the whining sound the loud hearing aid makes. And after the grand introductions and first dance were over, he didn't say a word to me. He just came running up to the DJ booth, barreling into me with the beet red face, with steam coming out his ears, knocked over all my gear, the facade, the decks that were playing the song at that time, which stopped because everything literally fell over. And thank God I caught everything, like before it hit the floor. And I had my roadie behind me who caught me catching everything, pushed me back up, pushed all the gear back up. And the dad continued just like foaming at the mouth, just screaming, "It's too loud, you're out of control," just spewing curses at me in front of everyone, all the guests, the bride, the groom. I was like mortified. I was completely embarrassed over the volume.
Was he
of the music.
intoxicated?
I don't know if he was intoxicated or just in the moment because it was his daughter's wedding and all the hoopla of the grand introduction and the first dance happened, and it was great. It was awesome. Yeah. But, the hearing thing probably got to him, and he just snapped. Like, I guess all the pressure from the day, and he took it all out on me. And I was, terrified to continue the event. I didn't want to be attacked again. The entire
These things do happen.
These things really happen. It's insane.
They really do happen.
The next 30 minutes, he stared at me, just grilled me down while I'm trying to.
That's the look I got from the biker dude, or
how do you work
whoever he
under
was.
that pressure? So I couldn't take it anymore. I went up to the bride and groom and I said, "Listen, I love you guys. Great party, great couple. I have nothing against your dad, but he attacked me, and now he's staring at me, and I just can't, perform like this." So they made him come up and apologize to me, and then made him sit in the car for the rest of the wedding.
Good.
Yeah, true
That's all I have to say about
true
that.
Story.
Good.
But I say when all else fails, or if you're uncertain, go find the people that signed the contract that are paying you and express your feelings to them and how you're uncomfortable and have them handle it, because you can't handle it yourself.
That's definitely a good tip.
Yep, that's all I gotta say.
I would go along with that.
Yeah.
I'd say let the clients know, so you don't do anything without them knowing.
You don't want to be the one that calls
If something
the police.
happens,
Let them.
If
call
something
the
happens,
police.
let them know why it may have happened. Definitely have maybe the roadie or the MC or whoever's with you. Let them in on it.
Yeah. That way you play it safe and they can handle it, and you don't get in trouble and cause a bigger problem.
Right. All right. Well, that was dealing with intoxicated and irate people.
And then some.
All right. Next up, we have the Q&A. So
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned, guys. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Cuepoints, the mobile DJ podcast. Anthony and Brett here. This is going to be a Q&A. Most of the Qs will be from, I believe, the Facebook groups.
Yes, we are trying to be live on Facebook. Say hello. And
so we'll have some live Qs there, and we'll answer them with A's, right?
Yeah. And you had some questions.
Yeah, I have some that I saved previously before the show. This one is from the DJ Idea Sharing Group. This is Gordon. I hate trying to pronounce these names. Tenray.
Gordon D.
Gordon, if you're watching, I'm very
Gordon D.
sorry for slaughtering your name. The first question is, what's the best accessory purchase that you've made? Not the favorite controller or speaker or PC or software or anything like that, but the best accessory.
Accessory.
Or like an add-on.
Yeah, not like the main piece of equipment.
Right. So what's yours?
What's my best accessory?
Yeah.
It's going to be, you're going to laugh. It was probably one of the cheapest things I've ever bought. It's this little headphone hook that attaches to the DJ table, and it's a place to put my headphones. It was like $15. It's made out of metal. It was on Amazon, and it just attaches to the thing, and my headphones live there, and they don't break when I drop them on the floor now.
See, that's something you don't even think about.
Yeah. People are like, oh, what's your greatest accessory? What'd you probably spend the most money on? No, it was the $15 headphone hook is my favorite. What about you?
I was thinking about it. I don't really have a lot of like random accessory things, but one that I love is the power. It's like a conditioner. It's not a power strip.
Like a Furman?
Right, exactly. It's a Furman, like a conditioner. And I plug everything into that. It distributes the power evenly.
Does it tell you like the volts on the front? And
No.
So it's just a power strip.
Well,
You love your power strip.
it just doesn't say the voltage.
Yeah.
But I know that it distributes the power to what is drawing the most. And what's cool about it is if you lose power, it slowly dies.
yeah,
So it's sort of like a surge
discharges.
protector, but it doesn't stay on.
It's important to
It
protect
just-
your gear.
It eases out of the power, so you don't like blow something like a speaker or your controller or something like that.
Makes sense. Yeah. It's the little things that, make the gig better and, help us get by. And knowing that your gear is protected is important.
Absolutely. And also in the question that he asked, he mentioned Alto wireless or AMX, like a DMX type example. I don't really have that much of an
To
extravagant
do like
lighting
what?
setup,
Like a wireless.
like the wireless sound or lights or something like that.
I bought the Alto Stealth wireless, and certain venues we're at, they require us to put a speaker kind of like outside for like their patio area.
Right.
So I bought the Alto Stealth, and it's cool because it has adjustable volume on it, so you can control the extra wireless speaker volume, and it worked great.
That's
I had a
awesome.
speaker about 100 feet away, and no dropouts. It's the way to go.
So your system was inside, and then you had a speaker outside as well?
Correct. So I had the two
cool.
main speakers inside, and then I daisy chained out of one of the tops to the Stealth, and had the Stealth shooting the sound to a speaker 100 feet away.
Awesome.
Yeah. Another zone of sound for the outdoor people drinking and playing cornhole games. They didn't have to do it in silence now, which is
Perfect.
awesome.
That's perfect.
Yeah. And then for the lighting, we use the Donner wireless dongles. They got buy the ones with the battery built in, so you don't have to worry about running power to them, and it simplifies running XLRs and DMX cables when you have wireless.
For sure.
Yeah, I like it. It's my one of my favorite thing.
Sure. I'll definitely look into that because every now and then you do have to run a speaker somewhere and you might not have 50 to 100 feet of XLR.
There's nothing worse than
you can
busting
run
out
and-
200 feet of XLR cable to run down and up in 2 minutes with the Stealth. Not even like a minute.
Exactly.
Yeah,
And
it's the way to go.
there is sort of an accessory that we're not going to talk about just yet because we are planning on doing a full topic about it. The power inverters,
Oh, the top secret.
the wireless power inverters. A lot of people say they're good for the ceremony or even just outdoor things.
We
where
use them for our photo booths.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Where
wireless photo booths.
maybe you can't have a generator because of the exhaust if you're inside, or
And
if
it's
you have,
loud.
or if you have a ceremony and you don't want that noise. The power inverters are awesome. And John Young from DJ News. See, I'm talking about it already, even
Yeah,
though I said I wasn't
You're
going to.
excited. That's okay.
He's got it's like a battery from a drill. Like that's what it looks like.
Yeah, Ryobi makes one.
But it's like a 9-hour battery.
Yep.
So,
Ryobi makes the inverter. You plug the drill battery right into it.
Exactly.
Yeah, I tried ordering them at Home Depot. I ordered them from 5 different Home Depots, and I got a call from each Home Depot saying they were sold out.
Really?
Yeah, these things were really
So
popular.
it's
a hot item.
It's a hot item.
For the summer, everybody wants to, plug in a fan or whatever.
Exactly.
We use them to plug in the light that goes over the scrapbook with the photo booth, believe it or not.
That's really smart,
'Cause
actually.
you don't have an outlet for it. We actually just got a question here from EJ Weston. I like this question. This could probably be debated for millennia. Why record box versus Serato DJ?
Why?
Yeah. Do you have experience with
Why
both?
record box?
Yeah. Why record box versus Serato? Why Serato versus record box?
I downloaded record box once because I was using CDJ, so
Okay.
I had to analyze all the tracks. Not a fan of it.
Really? How long ago was this?
This was maybe a year ago.
Okay, so many improvements have probably been made in the time. But tell me why you didn't like it. I'm curious.
Just the
Everybody's
interface. Well, maybe also because I didn't have it hooked up to a controller, so I didn't get the full experience.
Yep.
But just that first interface, it's a little confusing, like having to go through all the libraries and everything.
There was definitely a learning curve when I switched from. I'm one of the few people, I guess, that switched from many years of Serato to record box. I originally started with M Audio Torque Exponent, if people remember what that is from back in the day.
I had that with my first mixer.
The Torque?
Yeah.
It was the real, first DJ software that wasn't virtual DJ. And it was very simple and clean, which people love about Serato. So Serato came about and completely replaced Torque, in my opinion. And everyone loved Serato because it was so clean and easy to use, but lacking certain features where I feel Rekordbox came in and came out with these certain features. I like how in Rekordbox you can put your favorite playlists like in the middle area versus having them all on the left side where all your main playlists. You can actually have a couple like quick playlists, right in the middle.
That's pretty
cool. So you can access them quickly. But honestly, Serato and Rekordbox, they're very similar software. It just takes a little bit of time to get comfortable making the switch.
I'm a really big fan of Serato.
I'm a huge fan of Serato. I still go back and forth.
But there are absolutely some other ones you could use, and just have to experiment with them and see what works best for you.
I agree. When you're choosing DJ software, whether it's Rekordbox or Serato or Virtual DJ or Torque or Tractors for Farmers, there's no wrong software. There's just what you're comfortable with, and experiment. There's no harm in trying out a new software. One point I should make on Cuepoints about the Rekordbox software is when you switch from Serato to Rekordbox, your Cuepoints are missing. They're not readable by Rekordbox. So there's software called Record Buddy, which allows you to convert all your Cuepoints from Serato into Rekordbox readable Cuepoints.
I wish I knew of that when I was analyzing all my tracks.
Yeah, $60
and I had
software.
I had to redo all the Cuepoints.
Yeah, it was a lot of work until I found out about Record Buddy.
That was rough.
Thanks to Jake Scotto. And Record Buddy made Rekordbox able to happen for me. Because now I use the DDJ 1000. I switched from the DDJ SZ to the DDJ 1000.
I actually really like that controller.
Love the controller.
I tried it out. It's awesome.
I loved it so much, I got rid of everything and used two of them now.
Oh.
Yeah, what it is with the DDJ 1000, the mic inputs sound much better than the DDJ SX series.
Oh, I have an SX3. So.
And everyone gripes about the mics. Are they really that bad? Because I don't have.
No, I haven't had any issues.
I had the SX2 where I think they changed and listened to us and made the mics better.
Okay.
So I hope that answers the Rekordbox question. He also asked, is the Analyze engine better in one versus another? I would say the Rekordbox analysis engine's a little bit more in depth because I believe it includes the key. Serato doesn't analyze keys.
It does.
It does now?
Yeah.
So I would say they're probably on par now.
It's not usually there. You have to opt in to have it show up.
Okay.
But they do analyze the key as well.
I figured by this time in 2019, Serato and Rekordbox.
I mean, they're pretty neck and neck. They both do a lot of the same things, but
it's just feel.
It's just personal preference, yeah.
Because each software I noticed has a different feel to it.
Now there was
thank you, EJ.
Yes, thank you very much. There was a part two to the question from Gordon. He said, as a follow-up from yesterday's question, which was the best accessory purchase, what was your biggest waste of money?
Which one? I don't like to look because it just upsets me when I remember what I wasted up money on. Biggest waste of money though would be we bought this big video screen DJ booth where the whole front of the DJ booth was like a 50-inch
like a
TV screen.
I've actually been looking at those.
It was monster, and it was heavy, and everyone hated it. And I brought it out to about 3 to 5 events, so almost made some money back on it. But the problem was everyone would stand and dance in front of your screen, so it kind of made it pointless.
So it defeated the purpose.
It defeated the purpose, and people would come up and say, "This is stupid." And I've never had people
You can't
come up
disagree
and say
with that.
Yeah, and it's like, how do I argue with them when they're telling me that they can't see the screen?
But you
Everyone's in
also
front.
just bought it, so you're
Yeah.
like, wow.
Yeah, I'm like, it was a bad purchase. But then they point to the 2 screens on the sides of the DJ booth and say, we could see those.
These are good.
Yeah, these are good. So yeah, the video screen DJ booth, more of a novelty item, waste of money.
I guess the best use for that would be if you're on a stage. And everybody
Yes, you'd
is
have to be high up.
below you.
I thought it looked cool, and it made the setup looking more impressive. And you know, what I think and what other people who are on the other side think, I guess, are 2 different things.
Right.
Sadly. What about you? What was the biggest, expense that you've taken on that was a waste?
I think it was a subwoofer that I bought. It was a 18-inch seismic audio aftershock.
Wasn't enough.
The problem was, now, nothing against the seismic audio brand, because they are a good brand, but the woofer, the first time ever using it at a Sweet 16, blew.
Oh, that's not good.
So I was like, okay, well, I guess I have to replace the woofer now. Bought a replacement one, and it just...
Blew again?
Yeah, it actually blew again.
Was it your fault?
No.
Or you weren't pushing it too hard?
It wasn't too loud.
It just couldn't handle it.
It just... So I still have it to this day because I can't sell it. Nobody wants to buy this thing.
Does anyone want a lightly used subwoofer?
Lightly
Sounds
used.
good.
Lightly used, very reliable, good subwoofer.
Make it a coffee table. Make it into a piece of furniture.
That's what I use it for. I have a mini fridge in my room, and it goes on top of that.
And it's held up by a subwoofer. I like it. Yeah, we all make
It's a
mistakes.
nice, a decorative
purchasing.
touch, but it's a very expensive decorative touch.
I would like to say that being a DJ and growing up DJing, you have to make many mistakes and mispurchases along the way to kind of gain a feel for what you should be buying and what you shouldn't be buying.
For sure.
Yeah, learned my lesson many times.
Absolutely.
If Will was here, he would say the same thing because he has a buying problem as well.
Yeah.
It comes with the territory.
Well, I guess that's all. That's all the time we have for the Q&A.
Oh, yeah.
Thanks to everybody who is asking questions. We really appreciate that. We'll do more of that next time. But all right, we're gonna go into the EV Evolve 50
Coming up.
That'll be in the next segment.
KRK Systems is one of the world's most respected manufacturers of studio reference monitors. In their state-of-the-art design facility, KRK engineers create products that deliver natural and balanced spectral response with low distortion and superior imaging. KRK Systems is proud to introduce the Rocket Generation 3. Regardless of your musical style, genre, or mixing needs, the KRK Rocket G3s deliver a professional audio experience of the highest quality and offer stellar performance and accuracy for recording, mixing, mastering, and playback. Each Rocket features a soft dome tweeter, which provides excellent clarity and extended response to 35 kilohertz. At KRK, we don't want to boost the high frequencies or use gimmicky tweeters to generate high end that is not in the mix and only created by the speaker. This can become harsh and fatiguing, particularly at high volumes. Listen to the Rocket at any volume and note the high frequencies are crisp and clean and don't overwhelm the rest of the audio range. The sound is well balanced. The second noticeable feature is the Rocket Waveguide, optimized for superior stereo imaging in the listening position. When positioned in the sweet spot, the Rocket delivers a rich, defined image. Each vocal and instrument sits where the recording engineer placed them. Another feature on all Rockets is their lightweight glass aramid composite woofer. Working with a perfectly matched cabinet and bass port system, it delivers clear mid-range and tight bass. Rockets do not compromise mid-range frequencies to over-accentuate bass. Where some monitors hype the bass, they sacrifice the mid-range, or others focus on mid-range clarity at the expense of bass response. The sonic response of Rocket Generation 3 gives both mid-range clarity and low-frequency extension. On all Rockets, KRK offers a front-firing bass port, which allows positioning in the room with reduced boundary coupling, while engineered surfaces reduce diffraction distortion. The proprietary biamped Class AB amplifier with integrated brick wall limiters grants maximum headroom and low distortion. Even at max volume, the Rocket delivers natural and balanced spectral response. Multiple input connections ensure the Rocket G3 will easily integrate into any system configuration. In order to adjust or compensate for room anomalies and suit the monitor to your personal taste, Rocket offers both high-frequency and low-frequency adjustments. The KRK Rocket G3 Studio monitors are available in 3 models, featuring a 5-inch, 6-inch, or 8-inch woofer. Choose the Rocket that fits your needs based on the maximum output, headroom, and room size. For larger rooms or additional low-frequency extension, consider adding a KRK 10S subwoofer. The KRK 10S will add in the frequencies below the capability of a studio monitor. The Rocket G3 is a studio monitor in a class of its own. Prepare yourself for an audio experience like no other. Thank you for watching this video.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Cuepoints, the mobile DJ podcast. I'm Anthony, here with Brett.
I'm here. Still here. Hanging out.
Still here.
Still co-hosting.
Hopefully you guys enjoyed the first couple segments. Now it is time to do a special product review.
Very special. Fresh from my garage in Bethpage, Long Island, we have the Electro Voice EV Evolve 50 speaker.
Ooh.
In white. The rare white hybrid. I love this speaker. I've had the pleasure of using it on several events now, both the black model and the white model. Not that there's a sound difference, but the color difference is very apparent with the white speaker.
There's the black model
There's a black one.
that you guys can see there.
With the white model, people come up to me at the events and say, this is absolutely beautiful. This is furniture. This is not a speaker. Where did you get this?
It is, and I mean, it's manufactured white, so it doesn't look like it was painted. So
yeah, you won't see like globs of paint on it.
Nice and clean. I just love the look of it.
It's a very sexy speaker, dare I say. It takes an uplight well. If you put an uplight under the white speaker, it will catch the color and glow. And they sound incredible. I've had people actually come up to me at the parties and go, oh my God, these speakers sound so good. What is it? And they're column speakers. People don't understand that they're not traditional.
Some people call it a line array.
They do call it a line array, but they are a columnar system.
The reason why they say that is because there's a bunch of smaller speakers inside the top of it that I guess make a line.
Yep. But the tech sheet says they are columnar speakers. It's a column style sound system because you can't stack more of them and make it, a big array system. If you're going to do more of them, they actually want you to spread them out because with these speakers, different than your traditional DJ speakers,
dispersion,
it's a
right?
wide dispersion, and you'll get comb filtering if the speakers are too close together, which means that they'll actually cancel each other out. So when you set these up, you don't want them 4 or 5 feet apart. You want them a minimum of 8 to 12 feet, in my opinion.
Right.
And if you're going to do more than 2, you want to spread the satellite ones even further, or do what they call toe them out a little bit, where you just turn them slightly outwards, and that way the sound patterns aren't crisscrossing and canceling each other out.
That's great. Now, the number one thing that I love about these speakers is the portability. I mean, I know I talked about this with the gig bar, with how portable it is, and when it's a one-man event, I mean, these things are just awesome. As you can see, the subwoofer is nice and small, not heavy at all. I carried it in here.
One man.
Not heavy at all.
That was the whole thing.
I did it with one hand. You could literally have one sub in one hand, one sub in the other, like you do with the regular tops.
My guys, when they load these into the event, they just 2 up. They carry 2 at a time.
Yeah.
This handle's everywhere.
On a dolly, and it really doesn't take up that much space.
Yeah, I love these speakers. The whole thing was I needed to take the 4-piece sound system, a full complete sound system has subwoofers, and make it one-manable. Because 15-inch, EV ETX subs are even too heavy for one person. So this took a 4-piece sound system and made it one-manable. Great for holiday parties when you need that little extra oomph to get people dancing.
Absolutely.
You need that sub. This gives you the whole complete package. They're 1,000 watts per side, but they sound louder, in my opinion. And right now in the Facebook group, the Evolve 50 group, there's a huge debate going on how many people can these speakers really cover, like what is the maximum amount. And a lot of people will say 300 or 500, and you could definitely do 500 people sitting in an auditorium. I use the speakers for a dance recital, believe it or not, in a Comac middle school auditorium. Put them on either side of the stage, about 100 feet apart, and they filled the entire auditorium with sound for 500 plus people.
The dispersion was that?
It was incredible. It sounded
effective?
better
Wow.
than the in-house system that the school has built in.
Wow.
And they were asking me about them, which was really cool.
See, that's one thing I think I would lean towards with these is as a PA, maybe.
Yeah, a lot of guitarists will set these up just one in the corner of the bar, and they have the DSP built in, the digital sound processing. So they plug their microphone and their guitar directly into the speaker and can just play out live at a venue and set all the different settings to tweak their voice and to tweak the guitar or whatever they're playing to their preferred sound. So these are a preferred speaker of choice, actually, for a lot of live musicians doing, corner of the room setup.
Sure.
But with the 500-person auditorium event, it was great for the dance recital and the kids dancing on the stage. But for a private event, I would say these would max out at about 150 people for dancing.
Right.
You could do a 300-person wedding, but you can't have all 300 people dancing. It's just not enough. So what a lot of guys
Why
will
do you
do is
think
the low end, the sub.
Okay.
Because you get plenty of highs with these things, but you want that oomph, especially in New York, where we have a lot of like hip hop heavy crowds. You're playing like Usher, the subs aren't pushing out.
That first initial,
Yeah.
you need that.
Everyone's subs are always
oomph.
overloading on that song. So what people do is they bring out one or two extra subs to kind of reinforce these. And they
That's what I was about to ask. Would you maybe like pair these with a
lot of people
sub
are using
in the middle,
the EKK or the ETX even. You put a 15 like behind the DJ, hide it in the corner. You don't have to see it.
Yeah, or even right in the middle. You have one on one side, one on the other side.
It's a way to do it.
And then you have the sub in the middle, maybe.
A non-advertised feature about the bass unit is the handles on top and the sides are sloped. So what's the biggest party problem? Drinks on the subs.
So now they
you
can't
can't
do
put
that.
the drinks on the sub; it'll fall right off.
Awesome.
So it
And
keeps your white speaker wet.
while the camera's there, what I really like about this thing is that pole, because there's no wires.
The hidden feature.
There's no wires going up to the top speaker.
Correct. So the RCF version of this system, like the Evox, you have to plug the subunit into the top unit. The power and the XLR signal are built into the pole here. So there is no wire behind it or around it. It's all in it magnetic. So when you set
that's
this up,
one thing that I noticed
click and play.
when we put it together was everything's by magnet. There's no wires for you to. I mean, the only thing you have to do with the wires is to plug the signal in.
From the mixer.
From your controller.
So a
obviously.
traditional four-piece system, you're coming out of your mixer into the bottoms, and then you need 2 more wires to go to the tops, and you need 4 power wires. This system cuts everything in half. So you have 2 power wires, 2 XLRs. That's your entire setup. Like I'm literally setting this up at parties in 5-10 minutes, where setups used to take me 45 minutes to an hour. So it takes your stress level down.
That's what I'm saying, and even on one-man events, just the portability of these things are incredible.
I'm not gonna lie, I set them up in my house and listen to them because they're that.
I
good.
would too.
Yeah.
I totally
And
would
our
too.
newest thing is backyard movies. We're using them for our backyard movies. We'll set up the giant inflatable screen, put one on either side of the screen, and you have the best like movie sound that you can get outside. It's
There you
really
go.
truly incredible what Electro Voice has done with these speakers.
They're
I
awesome.
love them.
They're awesome, man. I personally don't own them yet, but I mean, just from being able to look at them here, I actually got to listen to them. I think it was 2 years ago when I went to the DJ Expo in Atlantic City when they first came out. That was one of the things that EV was showcasing. And, we took the top off while the music was playing.
You couldn't believe it.
You put it back on and the music comes back on. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, wow.
Yeah, like they really
They're just
did it
mind-blowing.
up with these
Yeah,
things.
for sure.
And what's also cool is Bluetooth. You can stream music from your phone to one of the towers and just have it in the backyard or cocktail hour.
Or like you said, in your house, yeah.
Yeah, or in your house. And it's not just Bluetooth music. You can also control some of the aspects of the speakers, Bluetooth with their app. You can control the equalizer and some of the settings. So when you have these things set up on either side of you, you can tweak them using
Without
the app.
having to run over there and
Without having to like bend down and adjust the knob and see what the little tiny text says. You could just go out in the middle of the room where you should be listening to it and, tweak them, which is really cool.
That's awesome.
I know you can also lock people out for people that are worried about random guests at the wedding, just Bluetoothing in, and playing whatever they want.
That's awesome.
Get you in trouble that way.
That's awesome.
So with these speakers, they come with a bag for the top, which is really awesome. And the bag holds the top piece and the middle piece. And then the bottom, you can get the standard EV cover, which just slips over the sub, and it's great for protecting it. With the white ones, though, I ordered covers from Hot Covers in the UK, and they make really nice, thick, padded covers. And I made them get the bottom flap added to the cover to protect the bottom of the white speaker, because with white speakers, white equipment, you got to keep it nice.
Absolutely.
Otherwise, it doesn't,
not just
stay
white.
nice.
I mean, these things are super expensive. The retail is right now for the white system, $1,699.
Yep.
For which it comes with the sub, the middle section, and the top, and it also has the carrying bag as well. So for all that, just one
side.
One side, $1,699 is retail.
With the black ones being $100 cheaper at $1,599.
Yes.
And honestly, if you're gonna buy like an EV top and an EV sub, you're spending over $2,000 per side. So this is almost more budget friendly to have a full range sound system and not spend $2,000 plus per side.
Yeah.
And fits in your tiny little car.
Exactly.
Yeah, I love these things. Stack them all up in a dolly, one trip.
Yeah.
One trip in and out of the venue.
I used to have a Nissan Altima, and these things would have been perfect. Having to squeeze everything.
Where were
in
these
there.
things when we first started and we were lugging around amps and speak-on cables and running crazy power drops? Now it's set up the mixer and plug, and play.
Exactly.
And I don't know if anyone's experienced the Electro voice like warranty and support, but when they first started shipping these, they had like one or two bad amps. Not everybody, like with the iPhone, one or two of them are going to have problems, and it's really about how the company handles it that dissuades your fears and makes you feel comfortable owning their equipment. And EV took care of those people like immediately. Got the speakers back, shipped them brand new ones right away.
Excellent.
Anytime I've ever had any sort of like issue with an EV product, they really pulled through customer service, which makes me love being an EV supporter.
Yeah. My tops that I use, the ZLX 12Ps.
Those are great speakers.
They're awesome.
But
I love
with the ETX and with the Evolve 50, they have the DSP built in, the digital signal processing.
Yeah, the ZLX has that as well.
Right, and you can't blow them.
Nope.
They make them unblowable. So all these DJs that used to like start off with like the Mackie SRM 450s, they would blow them like within the first month because they didn't understand gain structure, and would run them at red line with the peak light on, and then be like, my speaker sounds like a farting woofer and it's broken. I don't understand. With these, are undestroyable with all the DSP built in.
There's just so much technology built into these things now.
It saves you.
Where, I mean, you're really protecting your investment.
Yes, absolutely. So these are the white EV Evolve 50s. They also come in black. They come with the case, and you can get a cover for the sub. And as we both mentioned, no wires. That's the beauty of them.
No wires within the unit.
Within the unit, just leading up to the unit.
Which is phenomenal.
Phenomenal.
Because you're always like maybe trying to hide the wires, or
it's like a hassle
to tape them up, and then if it's hot out, the tape comes off. And
the only gripe
perfect.
I have with these speakers, which is not really a gripe, is the pole is not round like a traditional speaker pole. So if you want to clamp like a basic light show onto it,
you can't.
But if you watch last week's episode, we had the ape sticks on here, and we actually attach the ape sticks to the pole, and that becomes the basic light show.
That is magnetic.
It's not magnetic. We use, because it's aluminum, so we use Velcro or zip tie to attach the ape stick. They just sit there, and then you have a basic light show, and everything's wireless, battery powered, clean look, quick setup.
So you can't use like a C-clamp or...
Yeah, because the pole is like a rectangle. It's not
like a wing
cylinder.
Nut, but there are ways to mount things.
Yep. Velcro, zip ties, get creative. I saw a guy drill a hole, I wouldn't do this personally, in the back of the sub and mount another pole behind the speaker to clamp the lights on. In my opinion, it ruins the clean appearance of the speaker.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that, but
to each their own.
when you're innovating, I guess you have to experiment with those things.
And figure it out, because these are new. People see them and they expect, the big wide DJ speakers on a tripod, and they see these, and at first they're like, wait a second, there's no way. And then once the music comes out, the dancing begins, and the respect for them really grows.
I've heard these things; they're absolutely phenomenal.
They're a little too good, right?
The sound quality, it makes you wonder why all the other speakers are so big.
Yep.
Because this tiny little speaker
figured it out.
Can produce such incredible.
Yeah. So check it out, the EV
sound.
Evolve 50. And if anyone wants to ask questions about them, check me out at Pro DJ Productions. Hit me up. I'll be happy to chat and voice any opinions I have on the matter.
Or drop a comment in the video below.
Yep.
Follow us at Cuepoints Podcast or on the web, cuepointspodcast.com.
Yep, 12 noon on Wednesday. See you then.
See you next week.